one of the things I read about you, Vanessa, which I thought was really brave and gutsy, was that I read that you were engaged, and at 31, you broke it off and kind of started over, so to speak. And I think one of the big things about marriage and coupledom and happily ever afters, particularly for women, when they get to a certain age, the fear of being alone trumps everything else. The shame of being alone, really, I think in many ways for women at any age, right? The shame of being alone. So how did you kind of get the courage to break off an engagement at 31 to stand alone and start looking for what you wanted against culture?
That's a really amazing question. And I think you're right. I think it's something that every woman I've ever known actually has struggled with in some way or some capacity, right? I think for me, I was deep in the midst of my inner journey when that happened. So had I not already found therapy, a spiritual practice, meditation. I was actually in grad school at the time to become a therapist. So I was like deeply immersed in all of this inner landscape work, right? If I didn't have that as a support system, I probably would have stayed longer because of these societal shoulds and norms that are put on women's shoulders. And so I say that to say, I think that's a really important component that a lot of women are missing, which is this deep connection to self, this deep connection to community. And not community that's telling you what they've also heard, but community that's willing to challenge you, community that's willing to say, you don't seem happy. Is this what you really want? You know, screw what society says. Let's talk about you and your deepest desires and deepest needs and wants. A lot of us don't have that. And had I not had that, I might not have taken that leap. You know, on top of that, I will say, again, kind of coming from this background of I didn't need, quote unquote, air quote, need to be in partnership because I was somebody who always took a lot of strength or found strength in my ability to show up for myself. I didn't have that same weight that I think many of my friends would have had in a similar situation. I had some inner knowing that I would just figure it out. I would land on my feet and I would work it out. I would figure it out, whatever that looked like. And I realize not everybody has that, right? So I do think that also was an inner strength that I cultivated over many, many years of doing a lot of therapy, partly also because I had a mom who was really, really strong and always made it happen, no matter how hard it was. And so I'm grateful for her giving me that, I think.
So when you stood there though at 31, broken engagement, alone, single, up against, you know, society, what'd you feel?
Powerful. Truly powerful. I had chosen myself. And a lot of my work, but a lot of the work that I do, especially with women, is around self-abandonment and codependency and what we're taught relationships should look like at the detriment to your relationship to yourself. You lose yourself in relationship, you lose yourself to motherhood. I wasn't willing to do that. And I really kind of bucked the system in a lot of ways. And I felt really powerful. I mean, look, did I cry? Was I upset? Was I terrified? Of course, right? In the moment, all of that stuff was present. It's not like I didn't feel that. But I do have a very visceral memory of being on the plane and feeling like, holy crap, I chose myself. I did this for me. And I feel very powerful in that knowing. And it really made me feel like I put myself first. And I can do that now. It's almost like I can take on anything. I had a real sense of, just going against the grain